So, what's your prediction on the Real Housewives of New Jersey?
Okay, Real Housewives of New Jersey. Here we go.
I'm turning the tables. I'm turning the tables.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Turning the Tables. And today I have Rosalie Fallico.
Hi,
Hi.
Teresa.
Hi, Rosalie. How are
I'm
you?
good. How are you? Nice to see
Nice.
you.
Nice to see you too. So, guys, Rosalie is a psychic and a medium.
Yes, ma'am.
And why I wanted to have her on, I'm all about woman empowerment and I love helping other women. And I think she's amazing. And I wanted to share her with you guys. I met her from a mutual friend, and I feel like she's very gifted. And I wanted to share her with everyone out there. And hopefully, you guys could try her out and see what you think. Um, Rosalie, tell them what's the difference between a psychic and a medium, because I know you have
Okay.
the gift of both. So,
Yes. Yep.
let's let our viewers know, you know, what you're, tell them about it.
Okay. So my psychic side is where people like you in the past and other people come to me in my private practice for information on the what's next. It's like I'm in a contract or I have a relationship problem or I'm just kind of curious about my future, what's coming, what's my career look like. So it helps me see what's the next step. So spirit will never tell you what you should do, but they more or less give you a roadmap for like the expectations of what's to come. So you're prepared for it. You have a game plan in mind. So that's the psychic side.
Right.
And and on the psychic side, I can also read pictures of people that are living and tell you like are they lying to you, is there somebody else around you, them, are they cheating on you, etc., and just kind of give you a basic idea of their personality. The mediumship side is where I can connect you with your loved ones that crossed over. So, I have our loved ones that are around us all the time, and they really are available to everybody. It's just that we all don't know how to tap into it. So that's the mediumship side, and it's just how I was born. I want to say that it's more generational because my grandfather, they used to say he had a knowing. I'm Sicilian, right? We're Italian. We didn't talk about that stuff. They didn't talk about that like, that's like whatever. That's the bad juju. They didn't talk about it. So I was probably about 30 before my godfather told me, your grandfather was that way.
Oh,
And,
wow.
because I would have a knowing like, oh, you're going to get a flat tire, or, he's going to break up with you, or whatever it was, and then my husband or my friends would come back to me and be like, how did you know that? I'd be like, I have no idea. I just know it.
Yeah.
So,
How long have you been doing? Like, how long have you had this gift? Because I
you know,
think we all have intuitive feelings. It's all
yeah,
how
absolutely.
what you do with them, right?
Yeah, yeah, and we all have to be like ready to accept it or be willing or open. Like we go through sometimes stressful things and you're like, "Oh, I just have to pray to my God or talk whoever that is." Your God could be whoever you want it to be as long as there's somebody that you feel like is a higher power above us, right? And we talk to the universe and we say, "I need help. I need some kind of a sign." And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I think I got my sign. You have to believe in it. You have to be open to it or those signs pass you. Same thing with your loved ones. They can leave you a dime or they can leave you a feather. It's not them. They're not like dropping pennies from heaven. It's
Right.
just that their energy pushes in, so that you can find the dime or the feather. And we really do train them on the other side. Because let's say you find a feather and you're like, oh, okay, well, I know that's from my dad. Well, then spiritually, they're receiving those messages and they'll continue to send you feathers because it's resonating with you.
Got it.
So I truly believe we train the other side when they cross over how to communicate with us.
Yeah, you're right. Because like every time I see the same thing, I know it's signs from my parents because it's
Exactly.
the same,
Yep.
the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So I see. Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
You also have the gift second sight. Explain, like remote viewing?
Yeah, exactly. So, in an ancestor reading, sometimes it's even in a psychic reading, but in an ancestor reading, which is the mediumship side, they can put me in a memory and I will experience that memory with you. So they will show me, let's say, oh, we had the best family picture in front of this crab shack on the sand on the ocean, and that was our last family trip. And it's important for you to remember, or maybe you were just handling that photo from that moment, and they will show it to me, so I will be able to see it.
Oh, and then you could explain
And I
about
can explain it that
like
they're
what happened that
referencing.
day.
Exactly, they're
Oh,
referencing this
wow.
special moment. So,
Oh, that's
remote
amazing.
viewing is very unique and very different. And it doesn't happen in every reading, but it happens very often to me.
Okay, yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I also
That's
get psychic chills, which is a weird thing. I asked my doctor one day, I said, "Is it possible to get chills on one side of your body?" And she's like, "Yeah, no." I'm like, "Yeah, well, it is if you're psychic." Because
right.
in the middle of a reading, I will get the chills only on one side of my body. And that's just spirit pushing in, letting me know like they're ready to work, or whatever I'm saying is very important for the person that's receiving it to, to know, to know what
Right.
they want to say. I always say spirit will tell you what you need to know, not necessarily what you want to know.
That's great that you could help people remember like a special moment in
Yeah.
their life.
Yeah.
I know my journey with meditation, it helped me connect with my intuitive side. Like when I was doing yoga
Sure.
and that's really true, right?
Sure, absolutely. So I don't do yoga. I do chair yoga. I'm not as in great shape as you are, Trace, but I like to do chair yoga. But my form of meditating is just sit in a peaceful place. Could be your office chair, could be your car, can be anywhere you find a peaceful 2 minutes, 3 minutes to just sit and be quiet and just clear your mind. I focus on breathing and I like to see what comes at me. So it's crazy. It's all crazy as it sounds. My second sight, or let's say my mind's eye, right? My psychic medium side. In my head, I see images. Like if you were to say, "Oh, I can picture like this great location I want to go to." You picture it, you image it, right? So
Right.
when I'm meditating, my brain will image to me either a grassy, beautiful area, which is my psychic side, or my brain kind of goes to the right, so to speak, to the side where it's just kind of billowy clouds and very peaceful in that way also. So then my ancestor will come out and maybe they have a message for me, or maybe it's my ancestor or it's my client coming forward in that day. Sometimes I get messages in the morning when I start to meditate and I have no idea where it's coming from. It happened to me the other morning. My husband loves it when I suddenly go, "Do you know somebody that lost their child in an accident?" And he's like, no. He's like, "But you apparently do." And I'm like, "Well, let's see what happens." I said, "You sure you weren't in contact with anybody, Sam?" And he's like, "No." And then later in my day, I had somebody who lost their 19-year-old in a car accident.
Oh my god.
So, because all I get is a name and a phone number and an email, and that's it. It's just my way of contacting. Give you your Zoom link, contact you by text message, reminding you of your appointment, and that's it. The less I know, I always say the easier my job is because I don't have to fight with my thoughts and feelings. It's the other side. It's the feelings and the impressions that I'm getting that have nothing to do with how I feel about something.
Right, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Um Next is yeah, let's talk about how the spirits on the other side are available to all of us and how to anyone can connect with their loved ones.
For sure. So, when our loved ones leave the physical world, there is that heart attachment, there's that DNA attachment. They are our family. And in my practice, I feel as though that energy is just like a ball of energy on the other side. So their soul is a ball of energy, and they are greeted by their family or their friends on the other side. So it's all their energies together because the body stays here. So when they cross over, we still have that heart attachment. Sometimes we're overwhelmed with grief and we just can't get past it. And we need time to absorb and grieve and absorb the loss in order to be able to start getting messages from them. But if we truly spend time to be quiet and handle their items from time to time, everybody has a something that's from their loved one that crossed over. Every time we handle that item, we really do bring their energy to us. We might not feel it right at that moment, but it may come over the next day or a couple of hours from then.
Yeah,
They can connect all different ways, smells and sight, and there's all different ways to connect.
I remember with my mom, I wasn't ready right away.
Right.
'Cause I think, like, even on the show, I think there was a they brought someone in and, yeah, I wasn't receptive to that at that
No,
moment. And
no.
then it happened later on, like, it just happened, and I started getting signs, from my
Right,
mom and then my dad.
right.
Because I guess with my mom, it was just so hard for me because it was so sudden, and I never thought I
Yeah,
was gonna lose her that quick,
right. And I
you know?
always say, like, the ones that pass too early, too soon, or just so fast, there are so many open wounds that we have because we weren't ready to prepare. We weren't able to prepare, you know? Remember when I first met you, I said, I felt like you were just at the cemetery. That was their way of letting you know, "Hey, I see you. I know that you're coming to pay respect to us, to see us." You don't have to show up there to honor them, but we can honor them in lots of different ways, you know?
Yeah, I go see them all the time.
Do you?
And,
Yeah.
I used to, I used to put it on my Instagram just to show just for myself, and I know it was like everyone else would see it too. But like now, now I just go and I haven't been putting it on my Instagram. But it's just, I love, it's like, cause I know a lot of people like love my parents too from watching
Sure.
the show.
Yeah, of
So,
course.
so that's why I would do that. But yeah, I missed him so much. I think I know the answer to this, but let's tell everyone else. Like when you go visit a loved one at the cemetery or at the mausoleum,
Mhm.
can they hear you, like, when you're speaking to them? Do
Absolutely. They hear
do they
you everywhere you're at. Yeah, you don't have to be there, but they definitely hear you. And then they let you know. And that's why that day that I met you, I said, "Were you just at the cemetery?" Because they made me feel like you bring flowers and you go. So, yeah, that's their way of validating and letting you know that they're always there.
Yeah, oh, I love
And
that.
and there's smells too. Your dad just had me take a deep breath, which was my sign for there's a smell that reminds you of him also.
He loved his cologne. Yeah,
Oh,
he always
okay.
smelled so good. Yeah, he
Yeah.
smelled so good.
So if you like walk through a department store or you still have that bottle of cologne and you smell it or you smell it on somebody at an event or a restaurant or whatever, it will trigger that memory.
Right,
So, it's not every time you smell it, it's just certain times you're like, "Oh, that reminded me of my dad." So that's when you know that his soul's there.
right, right.
So, yeah, see, because we're talking, so the veil's up, girl. The veil is
Yeah.
up. So they're like knocking on my door. They're looking in your windows.
uh
So they're always there. Yeah.
I love that. So,
Yeah, they love you so
um,
much.
I love them. I miss them so much. Picture talk. So,
Mhm.
I think you touched upon this a
Yeah.
little bit, like
Yeah,
how
a little bit, but
like
dead people talk to me through pictures too. Right. So that's the psychic side, right? So the medium side is so my daughter is a medium. So she's 24. She doesn't practice it. She's in college, but she did when she was younger. And when she was a little kid, 6, 7 years old, she played with her little friend across the street from the house. They were identical. They were like little Bobbsey twins. They were always together. And her mom called me and she's like, Gianna brought me a picture of my mother. And I'm like, oh, and I'm thinking to myself, here we go. How am I going to handle this one? Right? She's a little kid. And she's like, she told me a lot about my mom, but my mom's dead for like 10 or 15 years. She's like, how does she know that? So in time, I kind of skirted around it. I'm like, oh, that's so funny. I don't know how to explain that. So eventually, they knew, and if you were around her for 5 minutes, you knew she was special. So uh, exploring pictures was a way that she learned how to connect with people that had crossed over. I still connect with people through pictures. So in my private practice, I will text them and say, send me a picture of your loved one. I text them like 10 minutes before I start my sessions. And then it just gets me right in because they have a limited amount of time with me.
Right,
So
right.
so I want them to make the most of their time. So I'll ask for a picture. So pictures talk whether they're alive or they've crossed over. Pictures are just a way of me and my daughter both getting right into the soul. Don't have to have it, but it really gets us where we need to go.
Oh,
See,
right. I
because
didn't
I'm
know.
attached to you because we're friends and because I have that knowledge of your parents already because I've read them already. I mean, I was a fan of the show. I've watched it since the beginning, and of course I saw them and they were so cute. They reminded
Yeah.
me of my family.
Uh, yeah, we're
So
both Italian, so
yeah,
you
yeah.
totally
So
you
yeah, so it was just, it was nice. It was a very familiarness. And I think that's why
right,
I always gravitated to you as like my person on the show, if you will, because I just felt like we were so much alike and I just adored your mom and dad because they reminded me of my family.
thank
So,
you.
people resonate with what feels comfortable. And it always felt comfortable to me.
Right. Yeah,
So
I didn't know your daughter was a medium. That's
yeah, she's a
amazing.
medium. Mhm.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah, she
yeah,
doesn't want anything to do
she
with
gets
it,
it
but
from
she brings
mama, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, it's generational.
I just want people to know what I do with Rosalie. I tell her, I ask her questions like, about my career and where it's going, and I record, our sessions.
Yep,
Because sometimes
absolutely.
when you're in the moment, when you're listening to it, it's like a lot to take in. So the
Yes.
best thing to do is take notes and record it. Do
I
that.
always do it, yeah. So, you're emotional or you're wrapped up in it and you're trying to think, and sometimes, especially in like an ancestor reading, a mediumship reading, they'll say things that you're not remembering.
Right, and
And
then
I'll get a message
exactly, you get emotional, and like,
exactly.
and then that's why it's like hard, like to get a reading and take everything in, and then to take notes. So it's great that you record it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because they'll come back to me or I'll get a text message or an email and be like, "Oh my gosh, I found the ring," or "I know exactly what you're talking about." So it takes a little time to absorb it all.
Yeah. Oh, so if somebody loses something, they could
Oh
ask you
yeah,
where it is?
oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Really? Oh
Yeah.
my god, that's
I'm
cool.
like, I see this. I don't know. You're gonna have to go look for it, and I can give them an
Yeah.
idea of what I see. So my daughter's friends in high school, and even now, still, I will get pictures. Bro, can you read them? Can you read them? What do you think? And I'll tell them, and they'll be like, "Oh no!" And then they come back a week later, 2 weeks later, and they go, "Oh, you were so right. That was a waste of time. He was just playing me."
I know, that's so
Um,
funny. The friend that I met you through, that's what
yeah,
she told me. She's like, "I just show her a picture and she's always right." That's what she
yeah,
told me. She's like, "She's
yes.
always right."
Yeah, she's a great person, Sandy. She's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the another one with pictures. What do you think of him? What do you think of him? I'm like, yeah, it's a free will decision, but he's not the one, but okay,
Yeah.
go for it.
I love that.
We had remember our little nickname we had for RoboCop. I told her exactly what was going to happen with RoboCop and what
Yes.
happened. Yeah, right.
Yes.
So, but
You're
she's
right.
the best. She's just got to keep fishing in that dating pond.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot
Um,
of fish in the sea,
there's,
so
there's a lot of fish. So then family will call me at 6 a.m. on a Sunday. I have a cousin, my cousin Jenny. She's great for. I had a dream. Can you call me? Can I like get out of bed again?
yeah.
Who's up at 6? I'm glad you woke up from your dream, but I
Yeah.
was still dreaming. Okay. So yeah, they all use me for the questions and answers, you know. I'm like
Yeah.
1-800 psychic medium at your disposal 24 hours a day. They don't
Oh my God,
understand
that's so
boundaries.
funny. Well,
Yeah.
that's true. So, yeah, so Rosie, now that you're bringing up dreams, how does dreams relate to the other side?
Okay, so I have the ability, and actually my daughter does as well, to have a dream and then wake up and have the dream happen. Sometimes it's immediate, like within a couple of hours, sometimes it's within a day or a couple of days. I usually don't have these kinds of dreams that go for a week or a month. They're usually very precise in the timing that they show up. A great example is I woke up one morning. My daughter was in junior high. I think it was junior high. And she was eating her breakfast. And I said, "Oh, G," I call her G or Gigi. I go, "Oh, G, I had a dream that, Mary passed away, my sister's mother-in-law." And she looked at me and she said, "Answer the phone." And I said, "The phone's not ringing. It's 6 a.m." And she's like, "Mommy, just answer the phone." And the phone rang. And I picked up the phone, and it was my sister that her mother-in-law died.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
hung up the phone and I looked at her and I said, "One, how did you know?" She said, "Because I felt it when I woke up and I knew you had a dream." My daughter's like medium 2.0. She's crazy gifted.
Oh my
And
God.
and I'm like, We are psychically connected, her and I. Even though she says I'm not a psychic, I can't do, Mom, what you do with the psychic side. I can only talk to the dead. When it comes to me and my daughter, we are in sync together. So
Oh
she's
wow.
like, "I don't know, I just felt like Aunt Margaret." So it wasn't the phone. She was feeling that her aunt was calling me. So
Right, right.
she just felt the energy. And then there are other ways that you can pick up if you're a psychic medium in that way where you can predict something. So she came home from school one day and she said, "I can't go to see Big Time Rush." It was a kid band. "I can't go see Big Time Rush." Saw them about 30 times in meet and greets. I took her all over the United States to see Big Time Rush. She said, "I can't go, Mommy." I said, "Gee, I got front row seats for Indiana. We're going." And she says, "No, Mommy, I'm scared. I can't go." Well, Indiana had an accident. I sold the tickets, and Indiana had an accident. And sadly, people died because there was some kind of microburst or something, and the stage collapsed.
Oh wow.
And uh, obviously, because she was little and she couldn't vocalize it, but that's why she was afraid, because she was seeing scary things in Indiana.
Oh wow.
So,
That's
and she was
thank
little. She was
God. Thank God
little.
you
She
guys.
was like 8, 9 years old. She was little.
Wow.
So we can dream it, or you can like, I want to say daydream it, like where all of a sudden you feel like, "Oh, that's going to happen. That's bad. We can't go there. I can't do that." And you don't understand the anxiety. You can't pinpoint it, but you know that by the way you feel, you can't do it. It's too much. And then you may find out later, "Oh, well, thank God I didn't drive with that way. There was a bad accident." Or "Thank God that, I didn't leave town because look at, my, God forbid, my aunt got sick and died." Whatever it may be.
Right.
So spirit will stand in our way at times to stop us from doing certain things that are not going to be good for us. So there's lots of reasons why spirit can come to us in dreams or in our waking life, where we randomly just get scared by something and we're like, "I
No.
can't do
Yeah, no, I totally could relate to that. Yeah, like I'm sure a lot of people in life get saved by certain
it." Sure.
situations. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. You get that
yeah,
gut instinct and you're like, "Oh no, I can't do it."
right.
And you decide not to go or not to do it.
Well, we were both saying this. I know we also what helps us get through things is your faith, right?
Yes. Yep.
Having faith. So
Absolutely.
it's like
I,
believing it, seeing it, you know, and
yep.
like yeah, and like whatever God that you believe in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I always say without faith, there's no hope and there's no love. You can't have one without the other two. It just doesn't work. for clients, even my daughter, they go through a heartbreak and they're like, I can't do that anymore. I don't want to date anymore. Well, that's like saying I completely give up. You have to have faith that it's going to get better,
Yeah, right,
or the
exactly.
job situation, or the family relationship situation, whatever it may be. You have to have faith, or we got nothing. We literally have nothing.
Right. And like I
So
always say, when one door closes, another one's gonna open.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you
So
know what? That might not have been your door. It might have been the other door was more
right,
important.
right,
Exactly. That door was meant to close. That
right.
chapter was over, you
And
know?
sometimes, and like speaking about that, like for instance, like, like my show,
Yep.
well, not my show, but the show that I'm on, Real Housewives of
Yeah.
New Jersey, it's like it was time, like we need a change. I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
do you want to take, do you want to
Oh
give us,
yes, let's
do you,
go, girlfriend.
do
Let's
you
go.
want to go there?
Woo-hoo.
Do you want
Do
to
this.
go
Let's
there?
go there. All right.
All
So
right.
so
So
all
what's your
right.
prediction on the Real Housewives of New Jersey?
Okay. Real Housewives of New Jersey. Here we go.
Like,
First of
is it
all,
coming back?
yep. So first of all, I do feel like the show's going to come back. I feel like we're looking at some new energy and we're going to get rid of some old battle axes, maybe one or two, you know. Some of the people that are on there do feel like their relevance comes from attacking you, because I don't think they have anything else going on. All right. So, in order to stay relevant, they have chosen the ugly road, which doesn't need to be that way. So, I feel as though those doors that we talked about closing, I feel like the door is going to close for a couple of them. I think Margaret's one of them. Margaret feels as though she's going to be moving on to greener pastures. And that's totally fine. I think that it's been coming for a while. Um, I also think that Jackie's the wild card. She's the wild card. I don't know how she's going to roll, but I think that our girl there has, a few fires to put out in her life. And I'm not sure if she's going to be able to maintain her lane. Okay.
Got
She'll
it.
be a
Okay.
little wishy washy, and she worries me.
Okay.
Um, let's see. Uh, Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you could say the names. I don't,
Okay. All right.
like who the cast is.
Yeah, I know, and I'm
So
nervous right now. So I'm
okay,
like, "What?"
am I coming back?
Oh, you're coming back. You're coming back, and there's going to be some new people joining you. I think we're going to try to get the men out of the picture, and it's going to be more focused on women and women relationships.
Well,
It
that's the way.
feels like it just went a little left there for a little while. I feel like we're going to go back to basics.
Okay, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah,
it's called the
yeah,
Housewives show. Yeah.
right. Yeah, exactly.
It's
Um,
I mean, it's yeah, there's housewife in each one. Real Housewives of New Jersey, Real Housewives of New York, Real Housewives of Orange County, Real
yep,
Housewives of
yep,
Dubai, like,
absolutely.
and so on and so on. So it's based on housewives. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I
Um,
know in their families, but it's like, yeah, it's, so
yeah,
hopefully I like that, back to the basics.
yeah, back to basics.
Back to how
Um,
it started. I hope it does.
Jen Fessler. I don't think Jen's going to be back. Jen just feels like she's a little bit too interested in riding both ends of the fence here. I don't think she's going to be back. She can't seem to find her ground. She does tend to take the high road, which is okay, but it seems to sway relationships. So I'm not sure if Jen's coming back.
Okay.
Um, Melissa. Melissa doesn't have a storyline anymore. Melissa and Joe don't feel like they have a storyline anymore. I know that they started in the beginning and they are part of the earlier years of the show, but I don't think they have a place anymore. Feels like everybody that doesn't have their own storyline is going to start pulling away and being removed or replaced in the show. because the idea was about a group of people, right? That was family or friends. Well, the family part's falling apart and the friend part's falling apart. So we need to take the cast, break it down, and put it back together again in a different way. So I'm
Okay.
not sure that they're coming back. Jennifer, I love Jennifer, but Jennifer feels like she's going to go do other things. I'm not sure. I think that Jennifer's going to be made an offer to come back. And I think she's going to have to weigh her options and decide if that's something she wants to do. Danielle, I do not think Danielle's coming back. I don't feel like she fits into the culture of Real Housewives. Rachel, I think she's got some good stock there. I think she just got a little confused in the beginning here how to navigate through relationships. But if they take the husbands out, it's going to be okay. But if the husband stays in the picture, I don't think it's going to work. It felt like last season we went to Mob Wives instead of Real Housewives. Right?
Yeah.
Seriously, it felt like we went to Mob Wives. So I think there needs to be a little less fighting and a little, like you said earlier, a little more empowerment, a little women empowerment, a little more positivity, a little bit more faith.
Yeah. And then last one, Dolores.
Oh, Dolores is coming back. Dolores is coming back. I don't think that there's any change there with Dolores.
Okay, interesting. So we shall see what happens. Yeah.
We shall see.
Yeah. So this is definitely going to live out there. So it'll be out
Yeah,
there.
it's okay. It
But
can live out there. Psychic
yeah.
readings can be organic. They can change. I'm
Yeah.
okay
No.
with it. I'm 90% accurate. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Awesome. No,
I'm
thank you.
going with the 90%.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. So thank you for sharing that with us. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens in the future. So Rosalie, how could they reach you?
I am on TikTok, bigpsychicmama.com. There's a lot of imposters. It's MAMMA. Make sure it has over 640,000 followers. That's me. And then
Oh,
Instagram has
spell it out. Spell it out.
BIGPSYCHICMAMMA. And that's on TikTok and Instagram. Instagram does have a verification badge with over 70,000 followers. And like I said, TikTok is over 640,000.
So thank you, Rosie. This was so much fun.
It was
Um,
fun. Thank you.
yeah, I'm glad I finally got you on. So I wish you all the best. And I just want to say, everybody, follow Turning the Tables, and please rate, review, and subscribe to Turning the Tables. Thanks for tuning in. Love, love, love you guys. Mwah.
I'm turning the tables. I'm turning the tables. Let's go. I know you love my style. I'm gonna make them smile. I am the one to win. Keeping them all to win. I'm turning the tables. I'm turning the tables.